This week on Supercars Talk, I shed a tear for the drivers we've lost this year and bag out some others that I don't think have done a great job. Before we look at the racing over the weekend, I'll go through some of the news during the week. First one, Super 3's gone. It's back to the Kumo Championship next year. Most of the rounds are kind of with the Australian Racing Group, which does the TCR and all of those kind of things. Obviously, that was where Supercars was kind of talking about doing the merge thing, because obviously they didn't own the Super 3, they were just kind of licensing it off I can't remember who runs it, but the Kumo guys kind of thing. So that's going off, that's going to be its own category again, not part of Supercars. They will be at Winton. I think that was the only Supercars round, but we won't see them for the rest of the year. So you can now, I think, come and play in Super 2 if you have one of the older Project Blue. Once again, I can't talk. If you have one of the older Project Blueprint cars, you will be allowed to play in Super 2 next year. And Super 2 has got some prize money, a bit like over in America, they have what's called the Road to Indy, where, say, if you win Super 3, you get a budget to move up to Super 2 the next year, and if you win Indy Lights, you get the budget to move up to IndyCar. They're giving a bit of a prize money next year. It's 400 grand if you win Super 2 and you move up to the main game. Helps a little bit with the budget. So we're talking the budgets of Super 2 somewhere kind of around 500 to 800,000 a year. So if you've got that kind of budget, if you got somewhere in there, plus if you win, say you're Bryce Ford, obviously he doesn't get it this year, but in the example there, Bryce is probably running, I'd say definitely in that $500,000 to $800,000. He's got a budget somewhere in there. He gets, a 400k prize. All of a sudden you've got somewhere, about a million, 1.2 or so. To take to a team, if the rec income's not bad, all of a sudden the team's got kind of $2 million budget then, with driver and the rec income. You're starting to get somewhere towards it's probably a lot more than what Techno's run their car on this year, and some of the others are probably around that kind of money anyway. So you can see what they're trying to do there. I think it's a great plan. Should have happened a long time ago to try and help the progression. Having said that, most of the winners have progressed. Chris Pither being kind of the obvious one, although he did have a crack a few years ago in the main game, and then kind of got out, came back, unfortunately didn't make the step up this year. Also, they're giving $100,000 to the Rookie of the Year. The only thing is that the rookie has to be in a current car, so one of the Car of the Future cars, can't be in a Project Blueprint car, and they have to be under 25. So I'm not sure if you run around in a Project Blueprint car for a couple of years and then step up, do you still count as a rookie, or you might be better off going and doing a year or two in the Kumo series with Project Blueprint guys, and then maybe making the step across then if if that 100k is something that you really need. We had another confirmation of driver over the weekend. Lee Holdsworth has got himself a gig for 2 more years at Tickford, and Truck Assist is coming along to back his car. Does that mean Jack LeBrock's going to be in the Bottle car? Not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure why Truck Assist unhappy with Jack, or maybe Jack's not the driver at Tickford. We'll see. I'm surprised by this 2 years for Holdsworth. We kind of didn't miss Caruso this year, and I think Holdsworth, Caruso are at, that kind of same level. Why not give Randall a shot? To be honest, Chaz Mostert, Cam Waters, young blokes doing a great job in that team. Holdsworth has been, okay, had some good results towards the end of the year, but he's been a bit all year. To sign him for 2 years, unless they got him really cheap, I don't fully understand that one. And we've also had some drivers confirming that they're not going to be around next year. We've covered off Simona Di Silvestro already. Tim Slate is out at Brad Jones Racing. Definitely not going to be at MSR from what I'm hearing. And he's close to signing an enduro drive. If I was him, I would be knocking down Roger Penske's door. Don't know if that's where he's going to end up. Walkinshaw's not looking like a bad place next to Chaz Mostert though as well, just as a bit of a hint for him there. Richie Stanaway's retired, so apparently he's done. He's 28 years of age, I think. He's retired, done and dusted. He's out apparently. We'll see whether that actually happens. I would have thought he would have been a really good pickup for an enduro drive. He's decided he doesn't want to do this anymore. So over the weekend we saw a couple of new liveries. Todd Hazelwood had the SS Signs livery. For a signage company I thought it was pretty average. Yeah, kind of looks good where they had the Super 2 car in the same livery as the main car, but Super 2 car did really average over the weekend. I'm not sure what's going on there. Ash Walsh came along there this year, and you know he was going to have a run for the championship, he thought, and yeah, it's been very average, a bit like the paint job. In better news though, Nick Percat had a nice Timken livery again. There was reading on forums and that there's definitely some mixed reactions. I thought it was really nice. I don't see what people are complaining about. So the racing on Saturday, no safety car. So it all spread out and was a bit, not dull, but, you know, there wasn't a lot of action kind of to take notes on. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't boring, but yeah, it was, yeah. James Goulding got himself in a couple of incidents, one with Jack LeBrock and one with Macaulay Jones. One was kind of his fault, one was kind of not his fault. I've just got, you know, half-assed passes and half-assed blocks. You know, it's the end of the season, you know, you guys are somewhat experienced now, you know, stick it in there, full commitment, or, you know, shut the door kind of thing. Don't do this kind of, oh, you know, I'll give him 3/4 of a car width kind of thing, and then you get punted out. Like, either just shut the door fully on them or give them a full car width to come through. And sometimes, like the passing guy, you know, don't kind of 75, just 100% go in, bash a door or something and get the job done. This, yeah, half-assed stuff, it's really kind of annoying me. Like, go in hard or go home. Life-changing message there. I've got a note here about Whincup not holding up Shane van Gisbergen. Times changing. Yeah, over the last few years when they've been teammates, it seems that one of them can really play the team game and the other one is a bit of a solo driver. Yeah, let me know if you disagree with me or not. And also we saw Whincup have a big lock-up on turn 1 and run down the escape road, which it's actually quite odd for him, and we have seen a few little mistakes creep in from him this year. At the end of the day, we saw Shane van Gisbergen win from Scott McLaughlin and Fabian Coulthard in third. So Fabian did a pretty good job to end out the year. Reynolds in fourth and Waters in fifth. Scott Pye in sixth there. He came up 16 positions. So from that terrible Friday where he actually ended up in hospital and Warren Luff did some driving for him. Then he crashed it in qualifying, and then he drove through the field at epic pace and ended up sixth. Not looking like such a bad seat for Chaz there next year, if they can continue it. And Courtney was seventh as well, so you know, as a team they definitely had some pace. And I've got a little note here that Mostert beat Holdsworth, and that was mainly because, you know, we just re-signed Willie Holdsworth. He qualified up the front, Mostert qualified at the back, and they actually I think they finished 11th and 12th, but they still swapped around kind of ends of the grid over the day. So on Sunday we had a little bit more action. We had the turn 1 incident where Pye fed Reynolds a bit into the tyre barrier. No one really at fault, but yeah, Pye did feed him in there. Holdsworth had nowhere to go. I seem to be mentioning his name a lot this week. And he just ploughed straight in the back of Reynolds, both cars, essentially out on the spot. I think they did kind of repair both of them and they trundled around to pick up points. I mean, who cares at that point of the year whether you get points or not? Then we saw the Courtney and Anton incident. Now, the same race, I think Courtney was a bit, young buck, I'll just put him a bit towards the wall, give him a fright, and it ended up wheels interlocked, broke Anton's steering. Wasn't a Tickford car with broken steering for a change, and Courtney had the tyre ripped off. I think it was a bit of teach the kid a lesson that went a bit wrong. And on that as well, with the Courtney and Pye leaving Walkinshaws, I thought it was interesting over the weekend. There's kind of on social media. I'm not sure if I missed this, but social media and on the telecast and all that, it seemed to be all Courtney leaving kind of thing. Granted, he'd been there 9 years. Pye was leaving as well, and they're all in tears and cuddles and crap for Courtney, and it seemed to be a bit like Pye out the door, which Pye kind of took over from. I nearly forgot his name for a second there. My mate Garth Tander, where Courtney was supposed to be the big saviour of the team and that, and he seems to get outperformed by his teammate for the last few years. So I thought that was interesting, and then makes me think that Courtney was pushed more than he walked as well, because he seemed to want to be staying. We did see a definite pass this time, and someone giving room, and surprisingly it was Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. So Chaz went, from a long way back, went diving down the inside, and Cam actually went, and moved over a bit and gave him room, which is quite sensible when, it's a team thing. Like, why take each other out? Chaz was definitely faster. He was going to pass Cam regardless. I'm not sure if someone, a team on the radio, said, let Chaz through because he's barrelling along. As a fan point of view, though, it was a bit disappointing because we didn't get to see a good crash and, a bit of drama and that, which has been quite exciting this year, while Cam goes and blames everyone but himself. And, Chaz has got himself into a few incidents this year that he's kind of ducked his head on and not admitted fault. There's also, I've got a note here about the track got declared wet, and I'm not sure, but you might wonder why they do that. So a few years ago at Winton, I think it might have even been the day where Courtney took out Tander off the start when they were teammates, and then Courtney was trundling around to get some points, and they actually put wet tyres on the car even though the track was dry, to trundle around and save the normal slicks for the next day. So what they do now is you cannot go out on wet tyres unless they declare the track wet, because they say apparently that's unfair on the other teams. So if you're wondering why they need to declare the track wet, that's why. I was hoping for some rain. Of course, New South Wales needs it because of the bushfires and that, but also would have been a bit more spectacular race if there was some rain. So unfortunately we got a few drops and that was it. There was also a bit of a hoo-ha towards the end of the race. Apparently Rick Kelly needed a fraction of fuel. Now, I heard reports that it was a mil, who knows. People might say, it's only a mil of fuel, fuck it kind of thing. Let him go. The problem is though, then where you draw the line? Like when Penske doesn't put a litre in, or when Penske doesn't put 10 litres in or something like that, because they've been known to really push the limits. So it's a bit of an embarrassing mistake if you make that though, putting, I would have thought you would have, put a little bit extra in just in case, but, who knows? mistakes happen. So at the end of the day, it was the other Triple Eight car that won, Whincup. Coulthard was second. Nice finish to the year for him. And Tim Slade, the man who hasn't got a full-time drive, finally had a good result for the year. Scotty McLaughlin was all the way down in fourth. And we had Scott Pye again in fifth. Great result for him. And the biggest mover of the day, Shane Van Gisbergen, up 14 spots. Not bad when you qualify back in the best car. So that's all I have to say about that. So, unless you've been living under a rock, we all know Scott McLaughlin, the 2019 champion, and DJR Team Penske got the team's championship in the end, so they'll be starting in the first pit bay next year with Triple Eight in the second, so they have a bit of a swap. The Tickford guys will be in the third and fourth, and Penrite, Erebus, they're going to be the fifth one. Not sure who else is, but who cares about all those back markers. That wraps up my Newcastle review. That's not it for the rest of the year. I haven't got full plans yet, but I'll do a bit of a news show each week. Planning on doing a bit of, as drivers get announced and things, we'll, probably have a proper look at the driver market. Trying to at least have Glenn back, possibly a couple of other people, a bit of a guest, because then I don't feel quite as strange just talking to a camera by myself in my shed. I'm sure the neighbours wonder what the hell's going on out here. And also, if anyone's got any questions or anything, maybe we can have a bit of a deeper look into some of the issues or maybe some of the technical rules or something like that. Try and, give a bit of my knowledge out. I'm also going to try and go through a few of the things like my solution to the safety cars, my solution to fixed qualifying, and I'm sure I've got a lot of opinions on a lot of things. I've just probably actually got to write, some of these topics down properly. And I get a lot of questions in person, and I kind of forget about them by the time I come to do the video. Maybe I should write them down as they come along. But yeah, if there's anything you want to know a bit more about, comments down the bottom. Like and subscribe to the videos, please. Click the bell. You get notifications. It'd be good to get a few more subscribers and things like that. It all helps. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you later.
Put away your inhibitions. Let the beast in you just get loose. We all young, wild, and